Welcome back to another episode of WND Online. Today we will be playing a bit of Kerbal Space Program, and we will be trying to get to interstellar space. Oh no, my ship's a bit wobbly here. I think the interstellar module is maybe a bit too heavy for my first and second stage setup here. I use this first and second stage setup a lot in most of my newer spaceships in this game because it's just very efficient. It can get your ship to pretty much anywhere. It can get you to the Mun, it can get you into an orbit around Kerbin, can get you to interplanetary space, can even get you to interstellar space if you add on some extra modules like what we've done here. Although this time we're not just transporting a little tiny probe into interstellar space like I've done in the past. Although I haven't done a video about that, but that would be boring. Instead, we're sending 2 of the 3 kerbals on board this ship into interstellar space. The first one, though, the pilot, will remain in orbit around the sun. At a point in the video, he'll be on a trajectory into interstellar space, but he'll never get there. We're gonna put him back into an orbit, and we will release the scientist and engineer kerbals on board the ship onto a different part of the ship. The nose cone has solar panels and 2 external command seats, so we're gonna bring the scientist and engineer kerbal onto there, and then we're going to undock from that part and send that part of the ship into interstellar space, and put the other bit, the one pilot, the main module that they're all in right now, into just an orbit around the sun. That way the pilot can be rescued. We're not going to rescue him in this video, though the main focus of this video is just to get them to interstellar space. Okay, we're on to our second stage here. This isn't going to increase our apoapsis by much. Oh, we're a bit too out of fuel here. But this next module, it will definitely increase our apoapsis a lot, and it will get us almost all the way out of Kerbin's influence sphere. Okay, we're firing off those engines now. And you could see on the map screen there that it was already, like, increasing the apoapsis by a lot. Or, in just regular English terms, the highest point of the trajectory of our ship. Oh, we just ran out of fuel on this stage, so let's release it with some radial mounted decouplers and some separatrons. And now we are going to use the engine that we're going to use to also get us to interstellar space, just to do a quick burn to get us on a course out of Kerbin's influence sphere. Now that we've gotten the help of the first stage of the interstellar module, now let's just fire off the last stage a little bit just to get us out of the influence sphere. And then we can do our orbital burns to set us on a course for interstellar space. But first, of course, we've got to get out of the influence sphere, which we just got right there, so we can shut off our engines. And now let's deploy our solar panels and shut off our engine here. Don't want to accidentally fire it because it's the last one we have, and we're going to need it to get, like I said, into interstellar space. Okay. Now we can just warp into interplanetary space here, into our orbit around the sun. Okay. So good thing there's time warping in this game. You know, it doesn't like change the speed of your ship or anything, but it'll change the speed that you're seeing your ship moving at. That way, say you want to get to a certain spot on your trajectory, but it says it's 15 years away. You don't want to actually wait 15 years in real life. That would just be super boring. So, we've got the time warp tool. Okay, now we are in interplanetary space, and we can start setting up our burn to get us on a trajectory to interstellar space. Okay, let's make a maneuver node here. Of course, you could do this manually because to extend your orbit's apoapsis, all you have to do is speed up. And it's the same thing for lowering your orbit, just the opposite, basically. You want to slow down to lower your orbit. Or your apoapsis of your orbit, sorry. Let's just fine tune our trajectory here. We're starting to get a weird orbit here. That starts to happen once you're getting close to a trajectory to go to interstellar space using a maneuver node. Okay, there we've got our. Oh, let's just get it a bit more fine-tuned, that way we don't waste too much fuel. Okay, there we go. Now, we will get ready for a burn. Of course, we will have to warp over to the maneuver node, although we wouldn't want to get too close to it, because this will be a burn that's longer than your average burn, at least if you're going to something like the Mun, or if you're in like an orbit around Kerbin. Bit more than 1 minute, so we don't want to get too close to the maneuver node. Maybe, well, you can get as close as you want as long as your maneuvering burn isn't going to make you go past your maneuver node before the burn stops. So I'm just going to go maybe around an hour from the thing. I don't know, let's see. No, you know what? Here would be a bit good. Okay, let's get our engines ready. Here's at the start, our maneuver to get us to interstellar space. Just cut through some scenes here of our engines firing. Okay, now let's just take a look at our orbit extending. So, something weird that happens when you try to go to interstellar space in Kerbal Space Program, that I've noticed, anyways, is that there's no little indicator for going to interstellar space, like no indicator for the edge of the influence sphere of the sun. Of course, the game does know that you're on an escape trajectory, but it doesn't show you for some reason where exactly the edge is. The line just cuts off. Although it is kind of hard to see that cutoff point, of course, because it's all three-dimensional and you can't like zoom out over to it, and there's not really anything near it to judge where it is by. Okay, now let's point our ship in the opposite direction. Like I said earlier, to change your apoapsis so that it's lower in an orbit, you just slow down by firing your engines. So let's send out our kerbals here to the external command seats, and then now that we're facing the opposite direction, once we've got our scientist and engineer kerbal in their command seats and undocked from their little module, we can fire the part of the ship that the pilot kerbal is on. We can fire its engines. That way, it'll go back into an orbit around the sun instead of continuing off with the rest of the kerbals into interstellar space. Because we want to be able to, we want to save the pilot kerbal maybe in another episode. I'm not sure though. But for now, let's just focus on getting the scientist and engineer kerbals into their module. It's weird. It shows you how much fuel you have left for your like space jetpack for when you're on an EVA, but it doesn't matter how much oxygen you have. It's like one of the main inconsistencies of this game. Although a lot of the physics is very close, is a very close approximation to real life, so it doesn't really matter, right? I've actually heard, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but some people at NASA use Kerbal Space Program. It's just searching up some stuff about Kerbal Space Program, and I saw something about that on Google. Forget which website it was from though. Okay, let's undock from the module that will be continuing off into interstellar space. And of course, let's use the RCS thrusters to make sure we don't accidentally redock. That wouldn't be good. There aren't many RCS thrusters on this ship, just the ones in the command module. So, right now, both of the ships, or parts of the ship, are on a course to interstellar space. We don't want that. We want to be able to save the pilot at some point in the future, right? So, we'll have to put the part that the pilot is on back into orbit around the sun. So we've still got a tiny amount of fuel left, but hopefully it should be enough to get us back into orbit. Let's see though. And right now, while we're still on a course for interstellar space, let's check this. And it recognizes that we are on a course, like an escape course, to go to interstellar space. Although there are a few glitches in the game when you try to go into interstellar space, because it's not like you're meant to be able to go to interstellar space, because there's like no other solar systems. But it's a neat experiment to see what happens when you do try to go to interstellar space. Okay, so let's go over to this ship here. This is the one that is going to continue on its course and go to interstellar space here. So, for some reason, the science experiments, even when you're on a course for interstellar space, they still say you're just high above the sun in space. But that's okay. It's just neat to see what'll actually happen when we go to interstellar space. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the video off here, but I will keep you posted through the community tab on my channel about the progress of our little ship here to interstellar space, where it's at. Post a few pictures of the map screen every now and then. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.